Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Flying Officer Dana Pham. We warmly welcome the members of 45th Battalion Association who are joining us this evening to celebrate the raising of their battalion on this day in 1916. Shortly, we will hear the story of a member of the 45th Battalion who appears on the Roll of Honour, Lieutenant Alan Montrose McDermott. We are honoured to acknowledge Mr. Jean-Marc Ayrault, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Development of the French Republic and delegation, and accompanied by His Excellency Mr. Christophe Lecourtier, Ambassador of France. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors and students on behalf of the following schools: from Victoria, North Melbourne Primary School and Bandiana Primary School. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Alan McDermott. Alan Montrose McDermott was born in Sydney in 1891, the eldest son of James and Margaret McDermott of Croydon. Little is known of his early life, but following his schooling, he became an accountant and auditor. He spent most of his working life working for the accountant firm Thomas Davies, Sheedy and Co., and became the managing clerk at the Inverell branch. McDermott enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force in early September 1915. A few weeks later, on the 7th of November 1915, he married Rita Isabel Scott of Marrickville, and a month later he left Sydney Harbour on board the trip ship Berrima, bound for the Middle East. McDermott was first posted to the 30th Battalion, but after his arrival in Egypt, he was transferred to the newly formed 45th Battalion. He continued training in Egypt and proved an able soldier, undergoing a series of promotions. Shortly after his arrival in France, he was promoted to sergeant, and in February 1917, he travelled to Trinity College in Cambridge to undertake an officer's training course. There he gained particular distinction in his knowledge of military tactics and received his commission on graduation in June 1917. In August 1917, the 45th Battalion was near Messines Ridge in Belgium to provide working parties for carrying material forward and digging and improving reserve trenches. During this period, Lieutenant McDermott was wounded, but refused evacuation and remained on duty. The battalion continued to conduct operations in Belgium throughout the year and spent the winter rotating in and out of the front line. On the 5th of April 1918, the 45th Battalion was drawn into the fight to stop the German advance around the French village of Dernancourt. The battalion's war diary recorded that the men went forward in excellent spirits and anxious for the work before them, and through their efforts and those of their outnumbered compatriots, the German attack slowed and then stopped. However, the 45th Battalion suffered heavy casualties from machine gun fire during the operation. One of those killed was Lieutenant Alan McDermott. Although McDermott's name appeared on a large memorial cross erected by the 45th Battalion in the Millencourt Communal Cemetery, his body was lost during the battle and never recovered. Today, he is commemorated on the memorial to the missing at Villers-Bretonneux. His name is also listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died during the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Alan Montrose McDermott, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow old. Correction, they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening.